The drums stopped beating the moment King Adewale collapsed in the village square. 1 second he was standing tall before his people, his royal staff raised high as he proclaimed his son would inherit the throne. The next second, he was on the ground, clutching his chest, his eyes rolling back. The village healers rushed forward, their faces grave. They knew what everyone feared to speak aloud. The curse had come for him. 7 years ago, King Adewale had done something terrible. He had banished Amara, the woman he loved, the woman who carried his child. His council of elders had convinced him she was barren, that the child wasn't his, that she practiced dark magic. They showed him false evidence, whispered lies into his ears night after night. And in his foolishness, his pride wounded by their accusations, he believed them. Amara had screamed her innocence as the guards dragged her beyond the village boundary. "You will regret this, Adewale," she had cried, her pregnant belly visible beneath her wrapper. "When you need me most, you will remember this day." He hadn't listened. He married another woman within months, a chief's daughter named Folktale. Beautiful, yes. Connected to powerful families, certainly. But 5 years passed, and Folktale gave him no children. Neither did the second wife he took in desperation, nor the third. Now, as the king gasped for air on the dusty ground, the oldest healer, Mama Kanda, spoke the words everyone dreaded. "The ancestors are angry. They demand justice for the innocent blood you spilled." "But I spilled no blood," the king wheezed. "You condemned your true heir to death in the wilderness," Mama Kanda said coldly. "You, and everyone who helped you." The head elder, Chief Okonkwo, stepped forward, his face pale. "What must we do?" The search party left at dawn, led by Chief Okonkwo and 3 of the king's most trusted warriors. They had no idea where to begin. 7 years was a long time, and the wilderness beyond their village was vast and unforgiving. King Adewale lay in his chambers, growing weaker each day. His 3 wives took turns caring for him, but guilt ate at them all. Folktale especially could barely look him in the eye. She had known the truth about Amara all along. The elders had paid her family handsomely to support their lies, to help drive the king's true love away. Now, watching him suffer, the weight of her betrayal crushed her spirit. Meanwhile, the village itself began to decay. Crops that should have been thriving turned brown and withered. The river that had never run dry began to shrink. Children fell ill with fevers the healers couldn't cure. Mama Kanda walked through the village each day, shaking her head. "The land mirrors the king's sickness," she told anyone who would listen. "Until he makes things right, we all suffer." On the 5th day of searching, Chief Okonkwo's party reached a small settlement 3 days' journey from their village. It was barely more than a cluster of huts, home to outcasts and wanderers. An old woman grinding cassava looked up as they approached. "We're looking for someone," Chief Okonkwo said, trying to keep the desperation from his voice. "A woman named Amara. She would have arrived here 7 years ago, pregnant and alone." The old woman's eyes narrowed. "Many people pass through here. Why should I remember one woman from so long ago?" Chief Okonkwo pulled out a small pouch of cowrie shells, payment for information. The old woman glanced at it, then back at him. "There was a woman," she said slowly. "She came here in terrible condition, bleeding, exhausted, ready to give birth. We helped her deliver." And Chief Okonkwo's heart pounded. Did she survive? Was there a child? The old woman's face hardened. "Why do you want to know? Are you here to finish what you started? To kill what you couldn't kill before?" "No." Chief Okonkwo fell to his knees. "Please, our king is dying. Our village is dying. We need to find her, to make amends, to bring her home as queen." The old woman, the hidden village of Akola appeared suddenly, as if the forest itself had opened up to reveal it. It was larger than Chief Okonkwo expected, with sturdy huts arranged in neat circles and farmland that looked surprisingly fertile despite the rocky soil. People stopped their work to stare as the strangers entered, their faces unwelcoming. A tall woman emerged from the largest hut at the center of the village. She wore simple clothes, but she carried herself with unmistakable dignity. Chief Okonkwo's breath caught in his throat. It was Amara. 7 years had changed her. She was thinner, harder, her eyes carrying a depth of pain and strength that hadn't been there before. But she was alive. And she was even more beautiful than he remembered. Amara, Chief Okonkwo called out, stepping forward. Please, we've come to. I know why you've come. Amara interrupted, her voice cold as river stones. News travels, even to hidden villages. The great King Adewale is dying, and suddenly the woman he threw away like garbage is valuable again. Chief Okonkwo felt shame burn through him. We were wrong. Terribly wrong. I was wrong. I helped deceive the king, and I have lived with that guilt every day since. Your guilt means nothing to me, Amara said flatly. You destroyed my life. You tried to destroy my child. Why would I help any of you now? Because innocent people are suffering, one of the warriors blurted out. Children are dying in our village. Crops are failing. Everyone pays for the king's mistake. Amara's expression didn't soften. And whose fault is that? Did I curse your village?
No.
Your own actions brought this upon you. The ancestors demand justice, and justice sometimes requires payment. Then let us pay. Chief Okonkwo fell to his knees. The king wants to make you his queen.
His true queen.
He wants to acknowledge his child, to make everything right. Please, Amara. I'm begging you. For the first time, something flickered in Amara's eyes. Not forgiveness, but calculation. She was silent for a long moment, and Chief Okonkwo realized she was weighing her options, considering possibilities. Mother? Everyone turned. A young boy emerged. The journey back to the village took 4 days. Amara barely spoke, and young Taiwo watched everything with those unsettling, intelligent eyes. When they finally crossed the boundary into King Adewale's territory, the devastation was visible everywhere. Dead crops, sick animals, people moving slowly, with the weight of despair on their shoulders. Taiwo looked around and whispered to his mother, "The land is dying because it remembers the injustice." Amara squeezed his hand, but said nothing. News of their arrival spread like wildfire. By the time they reached the palace, the entire village had gathered. People stared at Amara, some with shame, others with desperate hope. The 3 wives stood at the palace entrance, their faces masks of different emotions. Folake looked terrified, the others merely resigned. Mama Kanda emerged, her old eyes studying Taiwo with intense interest. So, the true heir returns, she said softly. Child, come here. Taiwo walked forward without fear. Mama Kanda placed her hand on his head, closed her eyes, and went very still. When she opened them again, there were tears streaming down her weathered face. The ancestors have marked this one, she said to the crowd. He carries their blessing and their judgment. He is more than just the king's son. Inside the palace, King Adewale lay on his bed, barely conscious. When Amara entered his chambers, his eyes opened. For a long moment, they simply looked at each other. The man who had betrayed her and the woman who had suffered because of it. Amara, he whispered, his voice broken. I am so sorry. So terribly sorry. Your apology changes nothing, Amara replied, her voice steady. But I didn't come here for apologies. I came for him. She gestured to Taiwo, who stepped forward into the lamplight. King Adewale gasped. Even in his weakened state, the recognition was instant and absolute. My son, he breathed. My son. Yes, Amara said coldly. The son you condemned. The heir you rejected. He's been alive all this time, growing strong while you filled your palace with lies and empty promises. The king tried to sit up, reaching toward Taiwo with a shaking hand. Please, I didn't know. They told me lies. They showed me false evidence. I was a fool, but I didn't know. You didn't want to know, Amara corrected. You wanted to believe the worst because it was easier than standing up to your council, easier than defending the woman you claimed to love. Taiwo finally spoke, his young voice clear and strong. Mama Kanda says you're dying because the ancestors demand justice. What justice do you think they want, father? The word father from the boy's lips made King Adewale weep. Whatever they demand, I will give. Whatever you and your mother need, it's yours. The throne, the kingdom, everything. Taiwo looked at his mother, then back at the dying king. He placed his small hand on King Adewale's chest, directly over his heart. The room suddenly felt different, charged, like the air before a lightning strike. The ancestors don't want your death, Taiwo said, his voice taking on a strange quality, as if others spoke through him.